you talk about ideology, and it brought to mind a memory I had when I was in New York. I was in Greenwich Village, and I was in a coffee shop, and I started talking to this older gentleman in his 80s, and we started having a really lovely conversation. And he said he had children. I went, "Oh, do you have grandchildren?" And this really sad look came across his face when he went, "No, my children are worried about the environment, and they think having grandchildren is selfish because it would damage the planet and the globe and global warming." I mean, how big a factor does that play into it? The fact, not only that, but this idea that the human being is a scourge upon the earth, that all we do is drain resources, that we are toxic. To quote Bill Hicks, we're a virus with shoes. How much does that play into people not wanting to have babies and children?
It's quite hard to quantify, although there are studies that show quite a lot of young people today are worried about this issue. And that it plays into the low fertility rates. I can't put my finger on it and say that's X% of the problem, but undoubtedly it is a part of the problem. And so we need an array of arguments against it. So let me give you my best shot at, in fact, there's a chapter in my book about why this is wrong and pernicious. So first of all, a child born today, if we believe the progress of net zero technology, will not emit very much. A small child doesn't actually create that much emissions. By the time he or she is 20, 25, living in his or her own place, driving a vehicle, we will be pretty close to net zero. And if you actually look at the progress Britain has made in reducing carbon emissions, maybe a bit phony because of the way we import and so on, you could certainly see in 20 years' time, a child born today won't have that much impact. So that's kind of argument number one. Argument number two is that in order to progress as a human species and as a planet, we need lots of young creative minds. So the planet, the technology that existed in 1900 could no way support 8 billion people, right? We are now 8 billion people, better fed, better educated, better housed, better clothed, better health, living longer than we ever have done. That's only because we've got new technology. Now the population is at least going to top out. If we can carry on with that creative endeavor, we will solve our environmental problems. A country like India, getting wealthier and wealthier, now has the space for more tigers, and the tiger population is taking off. It wouldn't be if it weren't an inventive, creative, and increasingly wealthy society. Still poor, but it's at a level that it can think about the environment. Country like Japan, not enough young people, less and less inventiveness. So to come up with the environmental solutions, we need technological solutions. Those will be produced by young people. Aging societies will not produce them. So that's argument number two. Argument number three is that if you are a person who lives in the real world, who says, I'm not going to have children because I want to save the planet, but I expect there to be a bus driver when I get a bus. I expect someone to clear my bins once a week. I expect someone in the restaurant to take my order or prepare my food. When I'm old, I expect to have a carer there. In other words, you continue to consume the labour of others, but you're too grand to produce it, or too environmental, or too green, or too worthy. All you will do is you'll either find that labour's not there for you, or you'll suck into your country a lot of immigrants from very low emissions countries. Now, we may get to talk about immigration, that's a whole different argument. But just in terms of the environment, if you are taking someone from the Democratic Republic of Congo to do the jobs for you in Britain, or from Syria to do the jobs for you in Germany, or from Guatemala for the States. These people, when they come and they aspire to a local lifestyle, even if they remain relatively poor relative to the country they've arrived in, their emissions can go up 50, 60 times. So you are not saving the planet unless you go and live on the blasted heath and sort of, I don't know, chew berries or something. You are not saving the planet. You are merely shifting people to meet your consumer requirements from low emissions to high emissions countries. So I hope those three arguments are at least part of a riposte to someone who thinks I won't have children and I'll save the planet.